Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 16 of L2R2 PlayStation Podcast. My name's Fonzie. I'm joined by my indie game dev, UK bro from another mum, Callum Monroe. Callum, how are you doing?
I'm very good. No exciting Ghost of Tsushima videos to watch this week, but I'm
Yeah,
sure there'll be some good things to talk about still.
yeah. I have that video playing on a loop in my house, but other than that,
Yeah,
yeah, because it's so beautiful. I can't
yeah.
wait
Well,
for it.
I'm actually drinking sake, so that's sort kind of
There you go.
relevant as well, isn't
Is that a
it?
super old? Is that like something that would be around in feudal Japan? Like, how old is sake?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I think it
Okay.
like dates back like hugely, but it's actually the first time I've really drank it before. So I think I've told you I've been over lockdown. I've been learning trying to learn Japanese, and it's sort of like made me really interested in a lot of things about it. And so yeah, I ordered myself a bottle
Nice.
of sake. It's a bit dry for me. I
Yeah.
should have got a sweeter one, but I didn't really understand what I was doing. So I'm having it. I read online it's really nice with Coke. So if like a 1-to-1 ratio.
There you
So
go.
I'm trying that. It's actually very nice. Yeah. So
If you want to disgrace that culture
enjoying
even
that.
further, you can get a Red Bull and crack it in there.
Yeah, yeah. I'll just pretend it's a funny color sake.
Now, are you learning through like I imagine you play a lot of Japanese RPGs? Is it easier to now just turn the settings on like the language to Japanese and kind of learn that way as well, like as you play?
So it's been quite interesting actually for me. I mean, I've never learned another language before, so I don't know whether it's like this for others. But I've been learning through an app called Busu, which I paid for like a couple of years subscription for, and I'm really glad I did. It's a really really good app, and it sort of lets you like keep on top of your plan, and it sort of you can sort of add people of that language, just like correct your exercises and that kind of thing. It's really good.
Hmm.
But with Japanese, you've got three different alphabets you need to learn as well, which is the hiragana, which is like the alphabet they use for their words.
Okay.
You've got the katakana, which is the alphabet they use for foreign words, and then kanji, which is like the Chinese like symbols, like the pictures for things. So a lot of it's been me. I've been spending a lot more time with that than the actual words themselves. So I know like a few basic sentences and things like that, but the sort of alphabet's been the main thing I've been focusing on. So, but yeah, I've been playing as you know, I've been playing Persona 5 Royal, and
Yeah.
I've been playing that in Japanese just because I think the Japanese voiceover fits it better anyway. But yeah, there's been a couple of times where like I've noticed a word maybe, or like I've recognized like a couple of alphabet letters in the
Yeah.
background. I thought, oh.
Like, oh shit.
But aside from that, I have no idea what they're saying unless I read the sort of subtitles. So
Gotcha. Have you ever been to Japan?
I haven't, but it's like I'm not much of a traveler, but Japan's like
Okay.
my top place I'd love to go, and that's part of the reason I started learning it as well, is because like I'd love to like in a dream world live there one day, just because I love the culture. I love like just everything about it, and it looks so
Yeah.
beautiful. I know I haven't been there, so it sounds kind of weird, but it just looks so amazing. I'd definitely love to visit, and yeah, it's just a place that really interests me, really, and I think because I'm not very interested in other places around the world, I think it like stands out even more so that I'm
Sure.
interested in Japan. Um, so yeah, so I'm planning to hopefully go. Well, I think I was going meant to go sort of family this year, but obviously that all went on hold. So
Yeah.
hopefully I'll get the chance over the next couple of years to go.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I'm not much of a traveler as well, but like the fact that we've been on lockdown, it's like it's
Mm,
made me want to pursue stuff even
yeah,
more. I feel like that's across the board for
yeah.
everyone. Like we're traveling across the country, going to events. It's like now I'm so hungry for that because we can't do it.
Yeah, yeah, it's horrible. Especially, I mean, yesterday was in England the hottest day of the year, and today was really hot as well.
Mm,
Um, and it's just been like so nice. And the car I drive is a convertible, so it's quite nice in the weather like this. And I was talking to a friend about doing. There's a route in Scotland called the NC 500, which is this like 500-mile route around the perimeter of Scotland and amazing. And we've been thinking about doing that sort of as soon as all this ends, just because, like you said, I just want to get out and go somewhere outside and breathe air that isn't extracted from the back of my PC.
yeah, I hear you. Nice. What you been playing? Just more Persona?
Yeah, so I've been chipping away at Persona. Again, I've been finding it getting a little bit stale. It's starting to pick up again now. I think I'm getting towards like the end of the original game.
And you are now,
And
or
yeah, I
what,
really like.
500 at this point?
Yeah, I think I'm like 77 hours in,
Jeez.
and I know from like what I've heard that what Royals added in, I've still got like probably about 30 hours to go. So it's just like it's just getting to the point where it's just so long now, like and it's quite difficult to like just keep it going. But I am really enjoying it, and there's times where like something will happen and I'll be really hooked and I'll be playing it up till 2 a.m. But sometimes like just not enough happens for me to stay playing it for like an hour or longer.
Right.
But yeah, I've been playing that, and I've been playing more of Mass Effect on PC, which I'm starting to grow into and enjoy a little bit more the more I play it.
Nice. Did you start from the first, or was it like the second one? I know you were. Where were you at with that?
Yeah, so I started with the first one, and I've played the first one before back when it first came out on Xbox, and I really didn't like it, and because I didn't like it, I never played the others. But it's always been a series I've wanted to get back to because of how much people go on about it.
Right.
And yeah, I've got to say it's probably got the best like lore and backstory I think I've probably ever seen in any sci-fi thing. I mean, I found myself like reading through the codex, just like everything on there, and I normally like so I sometimes find like interesting things in codexes, but the way this world is like built and the way it tells you about it is just so well done. Like I really am struggling to find an example of a game that does it so well, because I don't know about you, but I normally find in like backstory rich games that they find it hard to like restrain themselves from giving away loads of things about the backstory to the point
Oh,
like
sure.
it like becomes unnatural. Whereas in Mass Effect, it's just like told to you in such a believable way, and yeah, I'm like really loving the whole lore and the way like the stories like woven into the game. But that being said, the game itself is a bit of a long trawl at times, and have quite a few problems with the gameplay and things like that. But no, I'm enjoying it. I mean, like I said, the story's so good that it's like making me really want to get through to the end. And I know that Mass Effect 2 and 3 improve on the areas that I don't really like about Mass
Right.
Effect. So I'm kind of like motivated by the fact that I get to play, like a bit of a better game. It feels a lot like an indie game in a way. The first Mass Effect, like it's got
Sure.
like so much care and attention to the backstory, but the game itself just feels like even amateurish in some points. It reminds me a lot of the first Witcher game, which was an indie game, and they're both very janky in similar areas. So I think that's why it sort of gives me that feel.
Do you think you'll see it through and try? Because the next entry, it's a different like story and everything. But
Mhm.
I want to say Andromeda was the next one that was like
Yeah,
critically just kind of fell short, didn't sell. Do you think
yeah,
you'll
yeah.
end up playing that one?
I think I will. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know how Andromeda can be as bad as people say. I mean, I understand that it is like a general consensus, but I really can't, because I know that people say it's got like wonky facial animations and things like that. But and like technical issues. But that seems to be the only issues I've really heard. And Mass Effect 1 is full of those. So I don't really know whether it could be any worse than that. But yeah, I'm definitely going to play it through to the end. Um, just to see the story
All right.
out. But yeah, who knows? I mean, I might get to Andromeda and hate it for the same reasons other people do. But yeah, but it's a good thing you brought that up, because I have been thinking about that and thinking about how I might sort of react to Andromeda, and I get to see sort of why people are so disappointed in it. So I'm quite excited about that.
Yeah, it's very interesting because I haven't played Andromeda. I know it's now on sale for like it's so cheap now. I'll see it for like $4 or $5, and I'm like,
Yeah.
still. But it's such a I guess fall from grace with Bioware, because going off of
Mm.
those three Mass Effects, which are huge games, and then Andromeda
Yeah.
falls short, and then Anthem
Yeah.
falls short. It's such
Yeah.
a crazy turn of events when
Yeah.
it should be a trusted developer.
And it's easy to forget that they did Dragon Age as well. I mean, Dragon Age Inquisition, which was their latest Dragon Age game, that won Game of the Year the year it came out. So I mean, and I think that's a game that sort of quickly went away and lost all sort of traction. But yeah, I mean, they're such an amazing developer, and they have such a good. Even I played a little bit of Anthem when it first came out, and even that has like a really great, rich backstory. But the game itself, like the gameplay loop, is just so boring, and it's just not. It just doesn't seem like the right mixture of game genre and developer kind of thing. But so there's definitely something there. It's just a shame that you know what happened with Anthem. But then again, they're planning on doing things with it, so who knows what could happen. It could be like another Final Fantasy 14 or Rainbow Six Siege on our hands. So we'll have to see with that. But what have you been playing?
Not a whole lot. I told you we've been talking the past couple weeks. Been building a PC, so this week a lot of the parts came in. So I was really just nerding out doing that. I did boot up on the new PC. Played Half-Life 2, and I was just initially jumping in, testing the settings, jumping out. But I found myself playing for like, I don't know, a half hour. It's such a great campaign, and I haven't played it in a while, so I really need to go and see it through. But it was the point in the game, it's like the first third where you're on a hoverboat or like this water kind of boat thing, and you're being chased by this helicopter, and it's dropping bombs, and it's just nuts. And for a while it's silent, there's no music, and then eventually when that helicopter shows up and you're battling with it, this like really dope, just kind of intense music just kind of out of nowhere comes into play, and it just makes it super tense and really badass. And I got to play the rest of that game now.
Yeah, it's such a amazing game, and I think it's like it is one of those games that when you first build your PC, it was certainly one of the first games I played through when I first built mine. And yeah, it's a great game. It's just that engine. I mean, everything just feels so fluid, and just it feels like just how a game should feel. And even today, I mean, it looks great. It's such a like timeless art style. Yeah, I mean, it's a real sort of gem. But yeah, no, it's really cool. I think I think that's just a nice game to sort of play on your PC. It's a nice little welcome to that sort of ecosystem. So yeah, that's cool.
And I was playing on keyboard and mouse, and I was actually killing it. Like it was nice. Making more sense and feeling natural. And I'm going full blown PC, man.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I mean, again, it's a perfect game to sort of get accustomed to that. I mean, you can't really aim down sights, so you've got to be very precise. And I mean, it's a game built for PC, so you're gonna really get a good feel for that. So yeah, I mean, it's not as bad as people make it out to be. I think a lot of people just like straight away are like, I can't do this. Whereas if you just like give it a few moments and try it, it's really not as scary as it looks.
And another thing, now that I have my PC, I'm actually way more closer to playing Half-Life Alyx now. Like I need to drop another $400 at least, like on a quest. But like I'm actually somewhat, close to it. When just a couple months ago, I was not at all.
Yeah. So yeah, you've got you'll have a Valve index in no time.
Oh sure, yeah. When I sell both kidneys and a liver, yes, I will be ready to go. Nice, but yeah, I've been playing that, but not a whole lot. But I do need to get into some more games. Just this PC's taken over a lot of my time lately, but yeah.
Well, we'll do. And have you seen the new? It's quite good timing actually. Have you seen the Half-Life 1 remake that's come out recently?
Right, I forgot about that. Yeah, because I have the original Half-Life on Steam. It's not terrible at all. Like it's an amazing game. It's just like the movement is a bit weird. So the idea that I think they updated the movement, that was my only hang up, as it's a bit weird to like, and they want you to crouch a lot and like jump and crouch, and it's a whole thing. But and then all of course the visuals, like that they're just turned up and they're updated. I do want to try and play that again too.
Yeah, that'd be really, I haven't really looked much into it, but yeah, it's it could be quite a cool sort of game to jump into. I love seeing like sort of, because it's like sort of fan made, isn't it? So it'll be really interesting to see how they've done that.
And it's fan made, but Valve approved it at some point, and so they're behind it, and it got a lot of good reviews. So it's actually pretty.
Well, they must have done something right for Valve to sort of endorse it, especially considering it came out so soon around Alyx. I mean, that could have been quite detrimental to that as well. So it's quite cool that they've sort of shown so much faith in it.
Yeah, and all they had to do was put a stamp on it. They didn't have to do any work, so it's like a no-brainer for them. But you're right; it's it matches the quality that you'd expect out of something like Valve.
Yeah.
Nice, Callum. Well, let's get into some of these news articles here. Sort of a slow week, but I think we're wrapping up for something big. We'll get into it. But first one here is PlayStation Days of Play was sort of announced. The first thing is on this German website, and so it hasn't been like fully revealed yet from Sony. Apparently, I haven't found any info on that. So at the beginning right now, it's leaked from this German website. But So the translation is a bit weird on this article too, but it's from MediaMarket.at. Is a German hardware site. Now there are unbeatable PlayStation 4 offers, games, and much more. From May 25th to June 8th, the PlayStation Best Deals are back, including PS4 consoles, PSVR headsets, and the hottest games for PS4. Secure top promotions such as PS4 1TB Pro console, including Spider-Man, The Last of Us Remastered, and Horizon Zero Dawn, together for a heroic €399, which is around $430 US. Also, there's a DualShock 4 controller in black by an incredible €59.99, that's 64 US, with The Last of Us Remastered free to do so. Complement your gameplay with interactive PSVR glasses and make your game even more realistic. Take advantage of the offers for the days of play. So yeah, this is first leaked here, or first revealed. I haven't seen Sony push it yet, but and maybe I'm wrong, but it's coming up close. May 25th. It's what, May 21st. So if they're going to start promoting it, now would be the time.
Yeah, I was reading this when you sent it through, and I didn't realize it was a translation. Yeah. So I thought you had gone like insane from all the PC bit.
Yeah, heroic €399. Yeah. What the hell's going on?
What was it? It was with the game The Last of Us Remastered, free to do so. That's
right. But I like Google Translate it for me.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's cool. I remember days of play. I swear I got my current PlayStation sort of from my PlayStation Sims, the sort of days of play edition, which was like £250, I think. It came with 2 of these limited edition controllers as well, which are really nice. So I think that's probably even now like the best deal I've seen for a Slim, like brand new with 2 controllers that both were limited. They're really nice controllers as well. Have you seen? They're like blue with the golden sacred symbols on the touchpad.
I do remember that one. Was the whole console blue too, like a darker blue?
Yeah, the whole console's blue. Yep. It's really nice. Unfortunately, because of like the material it's made out of, the console itself, it like scratches quite easily. But the controllers are lovely. I mean, I use them both sort of all the time, and yeah, for £250, and this was like a year and a half ago. Well, probably a year ago now, considering the next one's coming. But yeah, so looking forward to seeing what they've got. I'm very excited to see the VR deal, because that could be quite good. Probably not that I'd get it, because if I was to get a VR unit, it'd probably be a PC.
Same here.
But we're going to be really dropping that back, and just to see the general PlayStation console deals, because again with the PS5 on the horizon, you'd expect some big sales. So yeah, it's really exciting. If something like
nice. Yeah, you're cutting out a little bit there, but I got you back. But yeah, no, I mean, now's the time to sell this and really drop it as low as you can, because we're going into this June event that is going to reveal the PS5. So now's the time to try and sell as many PS4s as you can. So it's a no-brainer. But yeah, so yeah. I'm stoked. You mentioned probably not interested in the PSVR right now, more like a PC version. I'm in the same boat too, but there is apparently a PSVR demo, or not demo, there's a PSVR bundle with Iron Man coming out soon. That's our next article here. I'll segue into that. An extended Marvel's Iron Man VR demo is out today. This is Nicole Carpenter of Polygon. Sony SIE added a free demo for Marvel's Iron Man VR to the PlayStation Store on Thursday. The company announced on the PlayStation blog. The PlayStation VR exclusive game will be released July 3rd. The company described the demo as a small slice of the main game, but enough to get the player really feeling like Tony Stark. Players that boot up and play the free demo will get an exclusive armor decoration after purchasing the full game. Sony also announced a new PSVR bundle with Marvel's Iron Man VR, which will cost $350. That's US. Pre-orders open Thursday. The bundle includes a physical copy of the game, PlayStation VR headset, 2 Move controllers, PlayStation camera, and a PSVR demo disc. Marvel's Iron Man is developed by Camouflage, the folks behind Republic and Republic VR. Yeah, I mean, that's good to bundle, because they're hoping to sell. This is like a killer app for the PSVR.
Yeah, it's weird. I haven't seen much on Iron Man VR, to be fair, but it just feels like a lot like the Batman one that came out. You know, it's cool and it's like a cool, but it's not a like seller for me in terms of the actual unit itself. I mean, I'm sure it'll be fun, but you know, it's still a lot of money. Even the $350 that comes with Iron Man, I still think it's a lot of money. And I think the problem is the advancements that's been happening in the VR space around the PlayStation VR. It's just like so quickly. I mean, it's not been too long since PlayStation VR came out, but so quickly since then, there's been so many advancements in the VR space that it's just made the PSVR head unit look so archaic. I just think that that's the problem, is that there's so many other better alternatives. But that being said, I only say that because, you know, I have a PC. So for people who only have PlayStation 4s, which I would imagine would be the majority of people looking to play Iron Man VR, you know, it's a good incentive. And yeah, I really like the PlayStation VR. I think it's a really good bit of equipment. Just yeah, like I said, there for some people there are a lot better options out there.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I do think it's good for them to get that demo out, because if you do have a PSVR, you can try that and jump in,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a way to not, I guess, sell more PSVRs because you would already have it. But
Yeah,
the next challenge is
yeah,
to
that's what I
make
was sort of thinking there. Yeah,
right.
it's you're kind of like with the PSVR, it's kind of, I know it's sold a lot, but it's kind of niche in comparison to the whole thing, and they definitely want to move more of those units. So, you know, saying like, oh, we're releasing a demo, it's kind of like, well, that's not going to make me buy a PlayStation VR because I
Right.
need one to play the demo in the first place. So, but I mean, there's not really much else they could do there. But yeah, it is just a bit strange.
Yeah, and really the next thing is to drop the PSVR dramatically so that it's just worthwhile to jump in. You know, $200.
Yeah,
If you can drop it to 200, man, that's a good deal. But
yeah,
other than
yeah,
that,
definitely.
it's kind of just waiting to. I mean, I imagine we're gonna wait quite a while for like the next iteration of PSVR.
Yeah.
So you can still pick one up for the next 2 years before they're gonna announce the next one, I imagine.
Yeah. Well, that being said, I didn't realize it included the two PlayStation Move controllers. And as much as I hate those things, that's still good bang for your buck. I mean, getting those
Right.
two, because I think they're what, like 30, £40 each, or, you know, $60 ish.
I think so. I think $60 in the US gets you both of them, if I'm not mistaken. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, I've never actually used them. I know that they're pretty handy for VR, but I've never actually used them outside of it, because
Yeah.
there was a iteration years ago with like the whole movement of these like move based games. But
Yeah.
yeah, I haven't used them recently.
Yeah. That I remember like really faintly when PlayStation Move first came out on PS3. It was like, it's like, you know, when you like think back on something and it just feels like a cursed memory that maybe didn't even happen. I feel like that with the PlayStation Move.
Yeah, it was just kind of trying to get on that bandwagon of
Yeah.
competing with the Wii and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then when the VR came out, they were like really excited, like, "Oh no, look, they do have a reason." Like,
Right. Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. But
yeah,
interesting. But yeah, I'm hopeful that Iron Man VR sells and is successful. But
yeah,
it's just
definitely.
not.
I think it being a PlayStation exclusive will be very interesting, to see how that does, and how that sort of, so if it is a unit seller. I mean, again, I can't, maybe for like kids' parents, you know, for kids screaming in their ear that they want Iron Man VR, it might be enough for them to, especially in lockdown, you know, like they're
Yeah.
probably sick of their kids by now.
Right.
So they probably want them
Put
to
the thing
go
on and
play.
shut up
Yeah,
and go.
yeah. So yeah, so who knows? It could be a unit seller, but I just can't. I've just found it difficult to, because there's been quite a lot of hype behind it, and I think that
Yeah.
might just be because it is an exclusive and because of the IP that it's following. But yeah, I personally just can't see the real pull it has myself.
Right. Yeah. Well, we'll see. I'm hopeful, but yeah, we'll see. So now our next article here is news about PS5, the power possibly behind the PS5. This is Sony reiterates sheer speed of PS5. Processing is 100 times faster than the PS4. This is from pushsquare.com. Robert Ramsey has the details. In the company's latest corporate strategy document, the PS5 section has a whole page dedicated to the evolution of speed in next-gen console. As you'd expect, the console's custom SSD is the key factor here. The document reads, in order to further enhance the sense of immersion in games, we expect to improve not just the resolution, but the speed of games. It continues, for example, through a custom-designed high-speed SSD, we plan to realize game data processing speeds that are approximately 100 times faster than the PS4. That's one juicy bullet point right here. Game load time should be much shorter, and players should be able to move through immense game worlds in almost an instant. Of course, we've already heard most of this before, but it's clear that Sony is banking big on speed. At this point, we imagine that the topic will be at the center of the system's rumored reveal next month, or whenever the hell it eventually ends up happening. Yeah, Calvin, some info on the speed. It's a whole lot of advertising and promotion until we actually get it in our hands, but that's awesome to hear.
Yeah, definitely. I think I was actually talking to some people about this the other day, about, you know, how, because a lot of people are still saying about, you know, oh, PCs have SSDs, so why is this such a big deal? But I've got an SSD in my PC, and I've been playing Mass Effect on my PC. Yeah, it still loads. It takes ages to load. It takes ages to do things because these games aren't developed with an SSD in mind, because they have to develop for the lowest, common denominator.
Yep.
So whilst an SSD can reduce loading times even on old games, the games themselves aren't developed for that, or like specifically for that technology. So yeah, I'm really excited to see how that is going to affect games going forwards, for both spaces, for both the PC community and consoles, because obviously the Xbox will have the same technology, I'm sure, or something similar. So yeah, it's really exciting. I'm just so pleased because navigating the PlayStation 4, like the UI when you're in a game, so when you like minimize your game, is just painful. Like
Yep.
it's even to the point now where I'd rather just close the game I'm in before I bother trying to do something in the UI, because it feels like it's just got so jam packed now with just stuff from the updates, and you're playing bigger and bigger games. It's just not, well, it definitely feels like the end of a console's life cycle.
Oh yeah.
So I'm really excited to feel something fast and responsive, and yeah, it's going to be really cool. And I think they've definitely done the right thing by focusing on the SSD rather than, because they could have focused on like 4K resolution and 60 FPS at 4K, and that's what the majority of people want. But I think they've sort of made this decision for the people here, that I think this is what people would rather. I mean, resolution and FPS would come at a big cost, and that would
Right.
be in terms of how expensive the machine would be, but also maybe how, if they put all this money into researching the graphics processing unit and all that, then the SSD would probably just be a fast hard drive, so it means you could like download things quicker, or put things on a USB quicker, or something like that, or just the OS itself just running fast, not actually affecting games.
Right.
So I think that this is definitely the right thing for them to focus on them. Yeah, I'm really excited.
Yeah, you touched on some good points where you're right. They're kind of advertising promotion wise. They are focusing on the speed of the PS5, not so much like the graphical ability, which it's going to be there. But you
Yeah,
notice Xbox is taking a different route where they're talking about teraflops and power and 4K 60 frame per second. But it's kind of biting them in the ass where stuff like Assassin's Creed
yeah,
Valhalla, they come out later saying like, well, it's gonna run at least at 30 frames per second, so it kind of like undercuts the messaging by
yeah,
Microsoft. So it's maybe a smarter route to just focus on what they're gonna nail, which is the speed, and everything
yeah,
comes in line with it. Everything improves because of that, but it's kind of different marketing
yeah,
approaches.
yeah, definitely. And I
Nice.
think PlayStation kind of learned from that when they released the PS4 Pro, and they were talking, a big game about more power, and then the Pro came out and it really wasn't quite, what they promised. I mean, I'm sure it's still a great console, but the Xbox Series X kind of didn't really say too much. They were just saying it's, much more powerful, and it did actually run a lot better than the Pro on a lot of these games, and
Yeah.
perform how it said it would. But yeah, you're right. I think by Microsoft focusing on graphical power and assuming that that's what everyone will want to hear, they're now going to get bit on the ass, because it's never going to be, it never will have been 4K 60 FPS from the start, because PCs can barely do that. Only like a very
Right.
minimal percentage of people's PCs can do that. That is not the norm, and it won't be probably until maybe even the next generation of consoles, if that's even going to be a thing, if the world's even going to be around by then.
Yeah.
but 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 yeah, I think that Sony have been spot on. They, like you said, they haven't talked about resolution, or I mean, they've mentioned the graphics unit briefly in as much as they've had to. But yeah, a lot of the marketing has come from not only the perspective of the SSD, but also from external people like Tim Sweeney, who people forget, founded Epic Games, who were originally like a big PC company and still are in a lot of ways. Like with their older games and everything, and with like Unreal Tournament and all of that. So he knows what he's talking about. He
Yeah.
knows more than anybody the differences between PC hardware and console hardware. And for him to come out and praise the PlayStation 5 and the engineering and what it means for game development, it should be a huge, huge thing. So I think that just on its own speaks volumes that PlayStation 5 or Sony are really focusing on the right thing here.
Yeah, you're right. You know what? That's a good point. And let's segue into. I'm going to skip one of the stories and go into one that's actually relative to what we're talking about. It's the fact that we're getting
Sure.
closer to this imminent PS5 announcement, and there's a little more smidge of news about the fact that it's coming soon. And I mean, that's basically it. But we'll go into the detail here. This is Sheriff Saeed of VG247. A strong lineup of PS5 games being announced soon, says Sony CEO. As part of an earnings call this week, Sony leadership touched a little bit on its PlayStation 5 plans. More specifically, the platform holder revealed that we're getting closer to finding out more about the games coming to its next-gen platform. In the briefing attended by Bloomberg's Takashi Mochizuki, Sony CEO Kenichiro Yoshida said, "We will soon be announcing a strong lineup of PS5 games." Yoshida didn't provide any other comments or really dig deep into details. Still, it's good to hear that Sony is working on bringing us some news soon. So far, the Japanese company preferred silence compared to the competitor Xbox, which has been more than happy to show off Xbox confirmed specs early, and more recently reveal some of the third-party games coming to Xbox Series X. So what I have at the end here is what you mentioned last week, or maybe the week before, is that you're thinking we're using the old info of The Last of Us original launching in that same week that they actually revealed the PS4 back in 2013. So The Last of Us came out June 14th, 2013, and the PS4 reveal was at E3 on June 10th, 2013. So it was within that same week, same couple of days. The Last of Us coming up soon. It's June 19th. The rumors are that this is early to mid June, so I'm hopeful that I think you're right. I think it's going to be in that same week, same small vicinity, but we're getting close.
Yeah, I think. I mean, in a way, I do really believe that like this is probably the case because it just there's nothing that goes against that, and everything that has happened so far. I don't know if it's just me sort of thinking so much about this that everything sort of like lines up in my head as like a factoid, but
Right.
um like there's been lots of rumors and grumblings that they've been wanting to reveal the PS5 much earlier, but they've had to push it back for whatever reason. And with The Last of Us 2 meant to being released earlier this year twice, two different earlier points, then maybe that would mean the PS5 was also meant to be revealed at two other points this year to
Sure.
coincide with Last of Us 2. So that would match up with the rumors that the PlayStation 5 reveal has been delayed. And yeah, it worked so well for them before when June was just like PlayStation overload of Last of Us being like one of the most critically well received games. The PlayStation 4 reveal being a huge hit. It was just like like an overload of success from PlayStation, and it just gave them this huge boon. And I'm sure it affected pre-orders of the PS4 as well by a huge amount. But it just gave them this huge boon, which catapulted them into like a really great start to PlayStation 4, which has now become like one of the best-selling consoles of all time. So I just think that it would make sense for them to try and to try and do that again. And with Last of Us 2 strangely releasing the same year as the PS5, the same way it happened, I just think that they'd be stupid not to do that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not the smartest of people. I'm surprised it hasn't been, or I haven't seen it mentioned anywhere else. I'm surprised nobody else has sort of thought of this kind of conspiracy.
Right.
But
No, you're right. I don't see a lot of other outlets tying making the same connections, but maybe
yeah,
they were all so dumb that they just go, yeah, of course. But like, I don't see those same stories because you'd see them created
no,
on every other outlet. But yeah, I mean,
yeah,
everything on paper sounds like that's what we're getting. And the fact that it's
yeah,
coming in June, I guess even if they announce in June, they're still within that month. But you want to kind of crack that same week, like you mentioned. So it's a week of PlayStation. You got Last of Us 2, you got PS5, and you just completely dominate because there's no other big Xbox titles releasing that same window that I can think of as well. So I mean, you're going to dominate that whole advertisement,
yeah,
time frame.
yeah. And I think the fact E3 is not on, and we're even if this was still going to be released at this time and E3 was on, PlayStation not being there, it would give them like a real flexibility to decide when to time these two things. Because I imagine that if they could have chosen, they would have probably not wanted to reveal the PS4 4 days before Last of Us. They probably would have liked to maybe a little bit longer for that to set in, and then
Yeah.
build some more like a week of hype for Last of Us just to try and like really put the cherry on top. So if I was to guess, I would actually imagine maybe like a week or two before Last of Us 2, if this is the case.
Yeah.
I'd imagine like a week or two before the release of the second game, where they would really announced some big news about the PlayStation 5. But yeah, you'd imagine that the next PlayStation 5 reveal will be the box, and the release date. You'd have to imagine, and the price and everything. So yeah, it's very exciting. I kind of hope, like, it's weird. I kind of want them to come out and explain that they've done this, just so I know that I was right. But
I don't think they will. But yeah,
yeah, no. Like they'll come out like, oh, and by the way, the reason we did this.
Mm-hmm. Right. They don't like to show their cards or tell what's happening behind the scenes. But yeah, so June 19th for The Last of Us 2 is a Friday. So in theory, and PlayStation loves Tuesdays. It seems to drop stuff like randomly on Tuesday. So, that week, Monday starts the 15th. So maybe, you have a good week before Last of Us 2 happens. So you could start already the 15th, the 16th. So it could be that third week of June. I know the rumors with the 4th. There was rumors of the 4th of June being when they're going to have their event. And apparently, and this is just like anecdotal stuff, apparently that was pushed further. So in theory, that lends more credit to them trying to nail that week. So yeah, maybe we'll see, that third week of June. But yeah, it's exciting. Yeah. It's all starting to happen, and we've waited a while.
Yeah.
Nice, Cal. Well,
I think Skype's doing a little jitter, but I think it's all right now. Actually,
you're coming in good. Yeah, today's been weird. As you kind of come in and out, but otherwise, yeah. I mean, it's been fine. But yeah, strange. Maybe somebody tripped on that Wi-Fi cord again, or whatever the router again at your house.
Yeah, it's making me sort of anxious. I feel like going out and checking it, but it should be all right. I think it's just Skype trying to be funny.
Is your router right next to the microwave? Is there maybe a better place to place it or something? Is it like right next to tin foil? And
well, I don't know. I mean, I've got like I've got full signal and everything, so I don't know. I think it might just be the Skype universe trying to interfere with us.
Somebody's listening and they hear you. You know what's going on behind the scenes, so they're not like
yeah. I should probably shut up.
You know what? This is a completely different segue into something else. But it happened again to me this morning. I want to know if you've ever experienced something like this. But I had my headphones on into my laptop, and this is the second time it's happened. I'll hear little tidbits of someone talking for like maybe 3 seconds, garbled audio, and then nothing. And this is the second time it's happened. Really? It happened once. Yeah, I guess maybe it's never happened to you, but it happened once at midnight at the house, and I was, it was very creepy. But it's like you can't understand what's going on. It's just like garbled audio, but it's people talking, and then it goes silent. Have you ever had anything like that?
When you plug just when you plug your headphones into your laptop?
Yeah, just when I have my headphones. And maybe it's happened with just when my laptop is going and I can't hear the detailed audio, but like when I have my headphones on and no audio's playing, I check my windows, nothing's playing in the background of like Chrome or whatever. It's just I hear this audio blip and then it goes away.
Yeah, I think you might just be I think you might just have ghosts in your house.
Or like the NSA, I'm hearing them like talk behind the scenes or something. It's very weird.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like you might be in a horror film. So so maybe start recording your life, and it could be a hit movie.
That's what I need to do. I need to somehow. The thing is, it's random, so it's like if I could somehow get it to where I could record my like desktop audio or something. But it's happening. It's very strange. It's nothing like ominous or creepy. It's just random garbled, people talking.
There's something similar to. In a way to that I've experienced sometimes, like on my phone, when you're sort of like on I don't know, like Messenger or something, and when you click on the sort of text bit, it sort of like drops down to like let you sort of type. It sort of like quickly drops down and shows your keyboard. Well, sometimes there'll be times where I'll click on that, and as it drops down, literally for like a split second, it will, as it like gets bigger, there's text already in there, or like behind, like even like behind it in some way. And like I've always like tried to replicate it and like screenshot it, but my phone like has a weird screenshot. I'm not very quick at doing it, so I can never get it. But I've always wondered what that says. Like I don't know what it means or where it comes, because it can be like I could literally start like a new Messenger conversation with somebody, and it will show up even then. But I like sometimes it will happen, sometimes it won't. So maybe like it's like a like a senses demon. So like you've got the sound one, I've got like the visual one or something.
Now, is it actually like readable text or just like code, like just garbage of
text? It's text, but I can never see it. I lorem ipsum, like that sort of sample text that gets filled into things sometimes. I wasn't sure if it'd be something like that, but I'm pretty sure I've like picked out words in it.
Yeah.
So I don't think it is. I'm not sure. I don't know whether it's like maybe an old message or something. But yeah, it is quite odd. I think there are just demons or just just like the FBI are
Right.
doing things to our devices.
That's most likely, yeah, FBI.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Yeah, I was wondering that. That happened again this morning before we recorded. But all right,
Yeah.
and we'll never find out. But
Yeah, no, you're on your own with that one.
Gotcha.
Luckily.
Yeah, or maybe I'm just losing my fucking mind. But yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
So it's most likely what's going on. Our next article here is some rumors about Call of Duty 2020. So there might be a Cold War Black Ops 2020 that's coming out. So this is reports. Call of Duty 2020 is called Black Ops Cold War. This is Joe Scrubbles of IGN.com. New reports suggest that this year's Call of Duty game will be titled Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War and will return to the Black Ops sub-series historical setting. The title was posted by Call of Duty leaker Okami on Twitter and backed up by sources of Eurogamer. Eurogamer added that it will return to its series roots, but didn't specify any specific events or locations. The real-life Cold War is regarded as having lasted from 1947 to 1991. Whether this is a reboot of the sub-series or a prequel to the Black Ops story, which has since headed into the future, is still unknown. Activision had already formally announced the expected 2020 installment of Call of Duty, but didn't confirm which of the studios would act as the lead developer. Rumors at the time suggested Treyarch would be the lead, which feels even more likely given it created the Black Ops sub-series. Sledgehammer and Raven are rumored to be support studios on the project. Those same rumors claim this was a Black Ops game set in the Cold War, and that it would restore a single-player campaign after Black Ops 4 dropped the feature. The reports coincide with the recent opening of Call of Duty Warzone's bunkers, which have been seen, data miners have seen discovering what seems to be a model of a Cold War era spy plane, the U-2. It's interesting. I wonder if they're going to delve into this storyline, this time in history. I really have more fun with like the single player Call of Duty experiences than like the multiplayer. So I'm super stoked.
Yeah. So I might be misremembering, but wasn't it Sledgehammer that was working on a Cold War game before, and then it turned into like something else or something? Or
I know there was one that was scrapped at some point.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it was Sledgehammer that was working on it, and they just and I think someone came in, or like because they've got obviously a lot of teams that work on them, and even when they're not working on them, I think they still have some input. And I think one of the teams came in and scrapped it and did something else. And I think that even happened with Black Ops 4, because I know Black Ops 4 didn't have a campaign.
Yeah,
and I heard that the reason it didn't have a campaign was because it was just not good, and it wasn't good enough to release, so they scrapped it.
Gotcha.
So, but I don't know. Call of Duty is a weird one with me. I really like the Modern Warfare campaigns. I played Modern Warfare 2 remaster recently, and the new Modern Warfare reboot. It's really confusing now to talk about them with hindsight in it. But the reboot, I enjoyed the campaign. But then the multiplayer, I really enjoyed Treyarch's multiplayer, because I think that the maps that they design are really, really good. I think it's become quite a staple of Treyarch's multiplayer, with the 3 lanes. And I think for the kind of style Call of Duty multiplayer is, that works really well. And that's actually a reason I really, really disliked the latest Call of Duties Online, was because I thought the maps were just...
and it's all open. There's no horrendous. Direction, really.
Yeah, and I just felt it was really just not enjoyable personally, but I know a lot of people like it. So, but yeah, so I kind of wish that, because Treyarch have been really crap at making campaigns overall. I feel in fact, the only one I liked was Black Ops 2. I really liked, and Black Ops 1, to be fair, had a pretty good campaign as well. But apart from that, I mean, World at War is probably one of my. It's not really a very popular opinion, but I really disliked World at War in general. And Black Ops 3 and 4, whilst their multiplayers were pretty fun, the campaigns were Black Ops 4 didn't have one, but Black Ops 3's single player was really bad. So I kind of wish they would just all just combine and make a Call of Duty game, because I feel like they've all got really obvious skills in certain areas. I feel like Treyarch clearly make the best multiplayer games. I mean, I don't really know much about Sledgehammer. I know that Raven did the Call of Duty 4 remaster, which was really good. But yeah, so I just feel like they should all merge together and, create a super team. Just because I think that's what Call of Duty needs series, every single entry. I mean, it has this reach, so it's always going to sell well, but they just never seem to, be this spectacle, and which they really should be with the amount of money they make. And I just really feel like that there's something to get at here from the studio's perspective. And I just think it's weird the way they do it, the way they stagger studios, and so that they can have a yearly release. It's like just take some time with it, gather all these studios together, bang their heads together, and get something really spectacular out, because they can obviously do it. And yeah, I just wish they would, just not think about these yearly releases and think about how they can extract the best things out of the games.
No, I would share the same, sentiment, where that's where the titles, they fail a little bit because the teams are, are spread across. They're kind of piggybacking off each other, or like they have to take turns in the releases rather, and they can't work together because they're stuck with this, every year model. So it suffers a little bit. But yeah, if you were to get everyone on board and release every 2-3 years, it'd be an even better experience. But they see the cash that's generated every year, and they're like, they stopped thinking that way a long time ago. But that reminds me, you mentioned a lot of the releases, but you didn't mention Call of Duty Ghosts. Did you ever play that one? That one kind of had a really that campaign was really like not liked, or the multiplayer was not liked by the community.
Yeah, no, I didn't play Ghosts. I think that was like around the PS3, PS4 time, if I'm correct. I think that came out on PS3 and PS4, didn't it?
Yeah, it was like one of the first PS4 cross, gen kind of a title.
So around that time, I was like really into Battlefield 4. Battlefield 4 is like one of my favorite. In fact, probably is my favorite multiplayer game ever. I mean, I love that game, and I've been saying, and I didn't really like Battlefield 1, and I liked Battlefield 5, but by now I'm sort of just gone off multiplayer as a whole. But I love Battlefield 4 so much that I just wish they would like release the exact same game, or like even like just a modern Battlefield game. I think sort of the world needs one of them. So I never really played Ghosts. There was a few more. I didn't play Advanced Warfare or Infinite
Warfare, I think. Yeah.
Which I heard actually had a pretty good campaign, but yeah, I didn't. I'm pretty sure those were like around the similar like rollout of sort of consecutive years, and I didn't play any of them. I mean, like I said, I'm not the biggest Call of Duty fan. I think some of them have some good campaigns, but even then, they're never like amazing campaigns that stick with you, and they haven't been since Modern Warfare 3, I don't think.
And really the Black Ops kind of had more critical acclaim for their storyline, for their campaign.
I mean, Black Ops 1 and 2 were great. They were really good fun, really cool how they sort of like tethered in the second one, at least, like the futuristic and the sort of flashbacks, and there was some really cool stuff there. But I think ever since it's just been very, they just try and be so Hollywood, big action set pieces, and they don't try and I mean, going back to Battlefield 4, I didn't like the single player Battlefield 4 at all. But Battlefield 3, I felt was really good. I know that campaign gets a lot of rap, so I know I'm in the minority here, but Battlefield 3 felt really atmospheric, because it kind of, I felt like the campaign used its like innovative things, because Battlefield 3 was very innovative with its destruction and its modern setting, military setting, which differed from sort of Bad Company, which it followed. And I feel like they sort of used what the game was good at for their campaign. I think that translated really well, but I don't feel like Call of Duty does that. I feel like it's just the same thing. It's going to be a big action-heavy campaign. There's going to be a good guy who turns out to be a bad guy, and there's going to be Conor McGregor and Jon Snow from Game of Thrones. It's just getting really. I think that they've just sort of like lost themselves. Like they've lost all sense of like their vision, and they're just trying to be as like, we're Call of Duty. We've got all the money, we've got all the attention. I just feel they've lost themselves there. So I don't really have a huge amount of hope for it. I like, to be fair, to be sort of on the other side of things, I did enjoy Warzone when I played that. I thought that was quite good. But I don't really have much excitement for the series at all anymore.
Gotcha. I guess I'm a bit more positive, or the fact that they're leaning into the Black Ops side of this new release makes me more hopeful that campaign is going to be more interesting. But you're right. I share the same, feelings with them, kind of leaning into the Hollywood side of it, and need to be a bit more creative, a bit more unique with and hopefully this new campaign will be. That reminds me, they have this deal with the PS4 and the PS4's life cycle with Activision to kind of promote stuff first on PS4. There's a lot of exclusive content there. Yeah. So the fact that they're already teasing this Cold War thing possibly in Warzone, maybe we'll see with that imminent June PS5 event, maybe we'll see some gameplay for the first time, an announcement for the first time.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, I think that could that lines up quite nicely. So what happened with these bunkers? Because I've seen some things being said about how they could hear, people could hear howling coming from them, and there was all these weird things, which I thought was quite interesting. From a onlooker's perspective, just to see because I like it when developers put little. I always find things like that really creepy and ominous, even if they're not at all. I've always found that, when you go out of bounds in the game, I'm like, oh God, what if I run into some weird thing? So what happened with that?
I don't know the details, but I think there's no information, but yeah, you're hearing stuff, you're seeing evidence in the world. But I know there's bunkers that apparently they're hiding, or there's ties to this bomber or some kind of nuke thing. I know people are finding some kind of nuke remnants, a possibility of a nuke, so maybe that's just relative to Warzone. But yeah, they are leaving these little breadcrumbs and Easter eggs, and they just don't say anything. They just leave them in the world, which adds to the creepiness, but also the cool Easter egg factor of it.
I think it's quite cool to have that. But yeah, I just find I find pretty much everything creepy to me.
Yeah. Well, check out this audio that I'm hearing randomly on my computer. You'll be creeped out. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to throw away my headphones, actually.
Yeah, maybe it's the headphones. Maybe they're haunted. I don't know. I did find them on an Indian burial ground. Maybe that's tied to it. I don't know. I'll look into that.
I mean, that'd be really coincidental if so.
Nice, Callum. Well, let's go into this next one. We have a Last of Us 2 Special Edition console and other stuff coming out with it. So The Last of Us 2 Part 2's limited edition PS4 Pro is up for pre-order. This is Janae Sitz of GameSpot. Sony announced a new PS4 Pro bundle that features a limited edition console and controller inspired by The Last of Us Part 2, and it will launch alongside the game on June 19th. Aside from the PS4 Pro bundle, The Last of Us Part 2 PS4 collection also includes a new limited edition gold wireless headset and a Seagate 2TB game hard drive. Aside from the console and controller, you'll also receive a physical copy of The Last of Us Part 2 alongside with a code to redeem digital content like a dynamic PS4 theme, avatars, and more. The entire bundle is available for pre-order for $400 USD or $500 CAD. I don't know what CAD is. I'm sure it's a different country. I'm a dumb American.
I think it's Canadian dollars.
Sounds like it, but yeah, maybe it's a cool new country. But yeah, what do you think of this console? How it looks, and I know they're getting some heat because they're blatantly putting the title Last of Us Part 2 all over it, and I kind of don't need that.
Yeah, I think that's my only negative with it. I think the console looks cool with it looks like it's engraved in, which is really cool.
Right.
But
I think they confirm it's actually engraved in there.
Yeah, that looks really cool. But yeah, I don't mind The Last of Us Part 2 on the console itself, but on the controller it looks awful. And when I first saw this, I thought it looks so put together amateurly by on Photoshop. It literally looks like they just put a text layer on top of the controller. It just looks so forced, and
it doesn't
need
to be there.
It doesn't at all, and that controller would look so nice just with that. And I mean, surely they know how big Last of Us is, and yeah, I don't know. It's just weird.
It's very strange. So yeah, I like you have Ellie's tattoo on the controller, which is dope. You have the buttons. The sacred symbols are more of a faded white. They're not as vibrant. So and then otherwise it's an all black controller. It looks really cool. But then yeah, you have the title on the front. It's are they trying to convince people that have never heard of The Last of Us? Oh, this is a cool console. I'll buy it. But you don't need to add the title to the thing. Even on the console, you have this really dope engraving, and then on the far left side of it, you have the title of the game. It doesn't need to be there.
Yeah, and I love whenever if I buy a t-shirt or a hat or something, I hate t-shirts that just say the game's name or
exactly
or something like that. I like subtle odes to things you really like, because it's kind of nice sometimes when you look at something and you're like, oh, I know what that is, but other people might not.
Right.
It makes it just seem less cheap. It's more it's got more thought to it, and in a way, it's like it's kind of like the design. You know that the designer likes it as well, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this just seems like it's so forced. Like it seems very promotional, and I just don't. I think that takes away a lot of like attractiveness from it.
I agree. Yeah, it's kind of a, it's almost a knock out of the park, but by putting the title on it, it's just very, it's very
and the design's
mainstream.
so nice as well.
Yeah,
and the design is so nice. It's just a real shame I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it'd be easy to whether or not these things have been made or not, because it definitely looks like a render, but whether or not they've actually made them, or whether, because I know there has been
it's
a bit
probably
of backlash.
too late.
I hadn't looked into the. I just saw lots of people getting angry about it. But I didn't know what it was in particular they didn't like. But yeah, so if it is The Last of Us Part 2 that's getting all the backlash, then hopefully there's something they can do to remedy it. Especially, I mean, maybe not so much on the console, but on the controller, surely it's quite easy to replace the touchpad. But yeah.
Or if you really want to get mad, look at that Seagate hard drive, and it's just like the full thing is the text that says The Last of Us Part 2 in white. It's very bold and very just like in your face. I don't know what we're doing here.
Yeah, it's... Oh yeah, no, I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
I didn't scroll down to see that. Why is that even real?
I don't know. Yeah, it's just, I think somebody walked in from corporate and said, yeah, put the title on there, and whatever designer is like, really? That looks awesome on its own, but yeah, I think it's from the top down kind of decision.
Yeah, that's that's really odd.
Yeah, it's kind of it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Yeah, the console itself looks dope with the engraving, but it's just, I guess you can take a black marker and just kind of just remove all the dumb stuff on there. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind The Last of Us Part 2 on the console. I think it looks. I think like the color. I think it looks all right, to be fair, on the console. It's just on the controller, and I mean, I'm not even going to talk about the hard drive because that is just ridiculous. But yeah, no, the controller, the way it's written on that touchpad just looks awful. Like it makes the controller actually look horrible. Like it's not even like, oh, it'd be nice without that. Like the controller itself looks awful with that on. It just completely ruins it.
Yeah, but it is what it is. It's often that, I guess it's more rare that I find a cool special edition that like everything I'm on board with. I guess I didn't pick this one up, but I really dug there was a Spider-Man PS4 Pro or PS4 that looked really dope, and it was super like vibrant. It had the symbol on it. I don't think it said Spider-Man anywhere. It didn't have to. It had the fucking logo on front. But exactly. I dug that one.
Yeah, my brother's got that one, and it does look nice. And I like the God of War one as well. The God of War one was really cool.
I forget how that one looked.
But yeah, this one's just. But yeah, again, the console's nice. The controller, I mean, I'd throw that in the bin.
Gotcha. Well, let's go on our next story here. Our last one. PlayStation Now hits 2.2 million subscribers. This is TheVerge.com. Taylor Lyles. Sony says 2.2 million people are subscribed to PlayStation Now, its cloud gaming subscription service that offers access to a growing selection of first and third-party titles. PlayStation Now has more than doubled its subscription count from around this time last year, when Sony reported that over 1 million people were subscribed. The increase in paid the increase in paid PlayStation Now subscribers also comes 7 months after Sony announced it was slashing its pricing, with subscriptions now costing $9.99 a month or $59.99 for a year. They previously cost $19.99 a month or $100 annually. Though the number of PlayStation Now subscribers looks huge on paper, Sony launched the service over 5 years ago, so it's been slow to grow. Its closest competitor, Xbox Game Pass, which also offers a massive library of games for subscribers to play, had accumulated 10 million subscribers as of April after launching in 2017. Sony's online gaming service, PlayStation Plus, is growing too. It hit 41.5 million subscribers at the end of March. A 5 million user increase compared to around this time last year, when Sony reported PlayStation Plus exceeded over 36 million active users. Microsoft reported that Xbox Live had amassed 90 million active users in late April. Yeah, it's dope. I mean, I think the key to this was them slashing the price, because it was kind of ridiculous to do the $20 a month to play what was on there. But at $10, it's a bit easier to jump in and keep that subscription going.
Yeah, definitely. And they even had the sale recently. I think it was like the Easter sale, where they put it down to £35 for the year, which was probably about $45, after the conversion. But which just made it even more attractive, and that's what got me to buy it. So yeah, I think that I think slashing the pricing was something they had to do. It was so expensive before for what you get. And yeah, I think now it's just a no-brainer. I mean, especially for £35, even if there's nothing on there for you now. I mean, they bring out new games every month for it. So there's, over that year subscription you have, you'll definitely get your money's worth. So I think it's definitely worth the price. And yeah, it worked well. But yeah, it's interesting to see these Xbox numbers. I mean, Xbox Live, 90 million active users is huge.
Right.
And 10 million subscribers for Xbox Game Pass is great numbers as well. But you have to wonder whether that's really, whether PlayStation are really worried about that, because Xbox Live is slightly different to PlayStation Plus, if I am getting it correct. I think you need Xbox Live to do a lot more things on Xbox than you do for PlayStation. I'm pretty sure PlayStation Plus is only for playing online for games that aren't free to play. I think if they're free to play, you can play it without PlayStation Plus. Whereas Xbox Live, I'm pretty sure you need for pretty much everything, if I'm correct.
I'd have to check that again. I know for like getting demos or buying stuff, you can have just the base, like the free version of Xbox Live. But yeah, for playing online, I think that's where I think they are very similar. But you're right. I think they do separate when it comes to the free to play games.
And if I play, because I play Xbox games on my PC, so if I play like Halo Online, for example, through the Xbox app on PC, does that count? Because it's still Xbox Live, isn't it? I mean, I don't know if that counts as that as well, because PlayStation Plus is not PlayStation Network, whereas Xbox Live is what Xbox's network is called. So I don't know whether the 90 million is people that pay for it or just people who use it, kind of thing as well. But because that seems like a lot of users, considering Xbox, how many Xbox Ones are out there. I mean, I'm sure it probably counts Xbox 360s and, like I said, Windows, but yeah, it seems like a large number in comparison to how many actual Xbox Ones there are. And then you'd have to take into account people who don't pay for it as well. So I'd imagine that's just people using Xbox Live, whether they pay for it or not.
I think you're right. I mean, if they can not fudge the numbers, but kind of focus on as a whole how many users they have, I think they would go that route. I imagine these are people that pay for the service, but also people that plug their Xbox into Wi-Fi. They count as a user because it's like the free version of it. Yeah, I think that's because those numbers are kind of backwards, where there's way more PS4s in the wild than Xboxes that are sold, but they seem to be trumping them in the active online users. So I think you're probably right on the money on that.
And the fact that Microsoft are like famous for not revealing how many Xboxes they've sold.
Right.
Whereas like when 360 was out, they were sort of all about saying how many they'd sold. So there's obviously something that they don't want to focus on there, which is fair enough. Whereas, if they're going to happily report this number, you'd have to imagine, because if I'm using the Xbox app on my PC, that surely counts as me using Xbox Live, because I can message my friends who have Xboxes through that. I can play with them through that. I can go and party chat with them through that. So you'd have to imagine that it was classing me as a user. I mean, I'm earning achievements on there the same way, like through Xbox Live. So I'd imagine that classes me as a user as well. So, but yeah, I mean, they're still amazing numbers, even if that is the case. That's because it's not about consoles here. It's about how many people are using that service. So to have 90 million active users, whether it's on Xbox, whether it's on PC, that's a really impressive number. And it just shows that, Microsoft are probably right for themselves in heading down that route of going as more of a service than just hardware, which is something I think they should have done a long time ago, because Microsoft are proven to make great software, but they're not proven to make the best hardware until recently, where the Xbox One X was probably their first real phenomenal.
I would agree.
Bit of hardware that they've created.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, we are going into a different time where this next gen is going to be a battle over subscription. So that's really I think when it comes down to satisfying their investment or their investors, rather, the people at the top corporate level, they want to see those numbers improving, and that's where subscriptions come in handy. So they really want to try and ramp that up. Xbox is leading the charge with that. Oh yeah. But so I think that's where the battle's going to be.
I've got a missing wheel on the bottom of my chair, so like if I lean too much over here, like the chair moves.
Yeah.
So I nearly just like disappeared off of view there. But
That's something you gotta get that fixed. That's dangerous.
well, to be fair, it was my chair that because my stepmom's got an office just next door, and we've got the same chairs, and her one broke, the wheel came off, so she came and took my chair. So I've now got because like, I've got like this little corner, so like it's harder for me to fall over.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, I've been sort of shafted there, but but yeah, I was going to say something about Xbox Live before I fell over.
Well, we're talking about like the whole subscription thing and how that's important, but
yes,
as far as
yeah, so I think it's quite interesting now nowadays. You know how as the years go by, these companies get more and more established, and that's shown with big. I mean, even titans like Google trying to enter the space, it's just not working. Whereas you know back in like the 90s, it was easy for a company to enter this new exciting games industry, which wasn't as big. So now I think that it's time for these companies to focus on their strengths. Sony's strength at the moment is obviously pushing hardware. I mean, they've sold so many consoles. You know, if you look at the PS2, I think the PS3 ended up outselling the 360 in the end. It took a while for it to. It took a while for it to do it, or at least reaching it. And the PS4 obviously being insane in how much it sold. Yeah. So I think Sony are clearly focusing on their hardware. I mean, they're very funny about putting their games on other things, even though they are looking into that space a little bit more with Horizon and PS Now being on PC. But yeah, I mean, Microsoft, I mean, Xbox Live's coming to Nintendo Switch, isn't it, as well?
That's the rumor. It's been around for a while. We haven't seen it happen yet, but it's been a strong rumor for a good while.
Yeah, so it looks like Microsoft are realizing that maybe, you know, and they've even come out and said that they don't see PlayStation as a competitor.
Right.
And they've got their Xbox Play Anywhere thing already with PC. So I think Microsoft are realizing that they're probably not going to win in the console selling space, but they can, you know, make a really great business model out of what they do best, which is offering an amazing service, which they've done already with the Xbox Game Pass. They're starting to integrate. I mean, the Microsoft Store needs to be a lot better on PC, but they're starting to integrate things a bit better there. I mean, the Xbox app on PC is getting a lot more natural as well. So I think you're just starting to see these companies realize that, you know, it's too late now to try and be something you're not, because people, especially in social media, it's so hard for a company that's made a mistake to get out of that. So I think it's really interesting. I think both are, you know, going down routes that suits themselves, and especially from a perspective of Microsoft, I'm really excited to see what they do, especially with all the studios they've now got and the amount of money that they seem and freedom that they seem to be giving all of these studios. I mean, just look at Ninja Theory, who are doing the Hellblade sequel. I mean, they were a really small studio, and they seem to be getting so much support to do whatever they want, and they're making really great advancements as well. So, I mean, both are vital to sort of everything, and I think they're both pushing in the way they need to.
Yeah, I think you're right that Xbox should lean more into where their strengths are with the software or with the this innovative kind of like subscription stuff. I think that you can't count them out yet, but this next gen, as this race kicks on for next gen, if they start to fail out of the gate already with the Series X, it's not going to be good. I mean, PS4, PS5, they have a bit more room to fail if this next iteration fails in some capacity in the next 2 years, but Xbox doesn't. So, I mean, if we see them leave the hardware game, it's going to be because these next 2 years are going to be if they fail dramatically. But then they always have that backdrop of, okay, let's just go subscription. We have these studios under our belts, and we have all the software capability. Let's go that route. But we'll see that happen in the next 5 years if this intro into next gen really is a failure for them.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Microsoft have every chance of having the superior console this generation as well. I'm just not sure, considering the sort of huge divide in amount of consoles that PlayStation have over Microsoft out there. I just don't feel like there's going to be enough people willing to leave an ecosystem that they've been part of for 6 or 7 years, or even longer for some people who were PlayStation 3, to then just go over to a new console just because it has a few better things than PlayStation 5. I mean, PlayStation are always going to have, you know, Naughty Dog and Insomniac and all these amazing studios that are going to make amazing games. I feel like there will definitely be people going over to Xbox if, you know, if the Series X continues to impress as it has been. But I just don't feel like there's enough to bridge that divide just because of the sheer amount of people like myself. I mean, the PlayStation 5, at its worst case, I don't think could be bad enough for me to not be able to play it. And as long as I can play it, I'm so deep into that ecosystem in terms of the meta gaming. You know, I've had my profile for ages. Got a lot of trophies, lots of friends on there. Just a lot of like history on there that I wouldn't ever be willing to trade in to go to another console. And obviously the fact I've got a PC means I don't need an Xbox because I can play all the great exclusives that are going to be coming that way as well. So I just can't see that migration happening, even if Microsoft have a far superior console.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. And if these companies, they get into the console business for a reason, not to just break even, but to actually make a profit. So if they're not selling enough, then I feel like there'd be the writings on the wall to kind of change gears and to move something different. But it'd have to be a huge improvement with the Series X. And there's also rumors of like that's codenamed Lockhart, this like more entry level next gen console that they're working on. That's maybe just like subscription service based. And so that's still rumored. We'll see that. But it really depends on both those systems. Their next gen stuff has to have a dramatic increase in profit for them to like keep doing this. They can't just keep selling under or breaking even at the most.
Yeah. I mean, it's so important, like you're saying, for like new companies coming as well. It's like with Google, they don't have anything to straight away make people attracted to them. It's like Nintendo. The only reason the Switch, well, I say the only reason, I love the Switch, but the only reason that that's able to compete is because they're still using these IPs that are so grounded in the history of games like Zelda and Mario and Animal Crossing. You know, Google doesn't have anything, just as example, they don't have anything to, you know, launch that sort of business model. Because there's already, you know, 3 huge companies that pretty much have all the market share. There's just no way for Google to squeeze in. And that actually reminds me, did you hear about Serious Sam 4?
Yes, it's exclusive there. Yeah, at least timed, and it's not going to be on console till 2021.
Yeah, and I think that's such a strange choice because it's not. I mean, I love Serious Sam, the first 2 games in particular, but
me too.
I just think it's such a weird deal because that's not. I really don't think Serious Sam 4 is going to. I mean, like I said, I'm a huge Serious Sam fan, but I'm not going to go out and get a Stadia just because Serious Sam 4's on it. So I think that all that's doing is just taking that away from people. Nobody's going to, or not many people are going to go out and get a Stadia just for Serious Sam. So it kind of feels like they're just doing that for the sake of it, which is sort of a shame. But
I hear you on
it's
that.
interesting that. Yeah.
I just feel like there's 2 different ways of looking at it because I hear that and I've seen some of this same frustration online. At the same time, we talk about how a company like Stadia needs to come out and kind of create their own IPs, create their own lane, and that's part of the thing is you have to bring exclusives. You have to look at Epic, you know, getting these exclusive titles, at least time wise. You kind of have to do something like that to give people a reason to come to your platform, you know, exclusively. So you have to make waves that way, but it turns off everyone at the same time. So I feel like I'd see both sides of it, but it's I don't know the easy path out of there.
Yeah, I think because the problem I have is that I think if it was like fully exclusive to Google and they were like, this is now a Google owned IP, I think that would be a different story. But it's the fact it's timed for a year. Like if it was like a month or like when they did Modern Warfare 2, I wouldn't be too bothered. But it's like, what's the point? Because not only is that going to be a difficult IP to get people, because I think the only way that would work is if Serious Sam 4 came out and Google, you know, bought it, so it's going to be fully exclusive to them. It came out and it was really, really great. It really filled a void because there's not many games like Serious Sam anymore. But let's say it was really good, filled, you know, this void that people don't have, and it really did, like you said, like they need an IP to really get them off the ground. But the fact it's a year timed, it's not going to do anything for Stadia, because by the time that people have maybe seen things about it and decided to get a Stadia, it will then be out on the other consoles, and then it's just pointless. Um, and the thing with Epic as well is the Epic Games launcher is on the same platform as Steam or anything like that.
Sure.
So all it means for that as well is you just download another bit of software. So I think it would have made more sense for them to take. There's so many dormant IPs. When you look at like Time Splitters and all these other games that I think THQ Nordic probably own all of them, all of
They
them
do.
now, because
Yeah,
they've
they
been on a
acquired a
spending
bunch
spree.
over the years.
Yeah, but see, yeah, so it makes sense for Google to buy someone like THQ Nordic and take all their IPs. I mean, they've got enough money to buy literally anything. Um, but yeah, I just think Serious Sam is such a strange one, and to timed exclusive it, just I don't think that shows they really believe in themselves either, because it's gonna be out on PS4 and Xbox One anyway. So yeah, I just thought it was a bit strange, but I mean, at least they're making some moves, and they've got their new studio with I've forgotten her name now, from
Oh
Santa
yeah,
Monica.
is it Amy something Henwig?
No, Amy Hennig
Henning?
is from
Oh, Naughty Dog. Yeah,
Naughty
yeah, you're
Dog.
right. Yeah, but it's the God of
I can't
War
the
producer director
producer.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, they've obviously got some things going on in the background, so I'm sure I'll probably eat my words. But yeah, I just thought this was a bit strange. I just think it's like, if anything, it just puts a sour taste in my mouth about Serious Sam 4, because it's I just don't really understand what they're trying to achieve here, really.
Yeah, I get you. I hear on that. I think really if they were to, and this should be the inevitable future with Stadia, if they go full subscription where it's $10, $15 a month, and that gives you full access to the titles, that's a
Yeah,
triumph. Like that's something that's actually approachable. Because but really with Stadia, you have to pay for the service, and then you get to pay for the games which are
yeah,
stuck to that platform. So it's a huge
yeah,
bummer. But if they offered Serious Sam $10 a month, and then you get access to all the other games, then we're off to the races, like something like Netflix. But
yeah.
there's some hurdle right now with Stadia not wanting to do that. Maybe just financially they can't, but that's the key for them to create their own path.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I just think it's such a strange business model, and I think the thing with PlayStation, like with PlayStation Now, which is the only other sort of real streaming competitor I think they have. Because I know Xbox have the X Cloud, but I
Yeah.
don't hear a lot about that really, as in comparison to sort of PlayStation Now. Um, and if you have the choice to stream on PlayStation Now, I mean, I normally, if I can, download the game. Um, and but
But Stadia, you can't.
Stadia doesn't give you that choice. Yeah,
Right.
like it's you stream it or you don't, like, kind of thing. And I just think that that's where they've sort of fallen short. And but yeah, like you said, if they had made it a bit more approachable in the way that it's a subscription, it's not a subscription and then you have to pay more money, which I
Yeah.
just don't think that works at all.
No.
Then yeah, I'd definitely be willing to grab a Stadia and get Serious Sam on that. Even if it's like a one-time purchase, so you buy it and then pay the subscription, as in you buy like the service or you buy a console or whatever, and then pay the subscription. That I'm fine with that. But yeah, like you said, the way they have it at the moment is just not attractive at all.
It's really not, and I'm hopeful that they will make these adjustments in this next year. Otherwise, I don't see that platform succeeding. Those are the really things holding it back because it already has a hard time with like lag and that kind of thing. But it basically works. But now the biggest hurdle is it financially something that can compete with other services? And at the moment, I would say it
Yeah.
can't. But also, Google's notorious for killing projects that don't work or don't meet their standards. It was in the news recently. I use Google Play Music. It's like my subscription based music. I
Mhm.
pay $10 a month and I get just unlimited access to all the songs. They're killing that
Yeah.
next year or early this year.
Oh, really?
Sorry, end of this year. Yeah, they're killing it. And it's been a
Yeah.
service for a while, and it sucks and it works, and I dig it, but they're letting it go. So that was a fear with Stadia. They've launched stuff that they end up killing. So if we don't see them adjust and maybe introduce new pricing and like the option to let you download, if they don't do that within the next year or two, I don't see any hope for them to survive with this platform.
No. No, and that's the thing. Google just have so much money that they can afford to do that. They can afford to just try something
Right.
and then just get rid of it. But I think the most interesting thing is this new studio that they're really obviously putting lots of money into. it's going to really annoy me that I can't remember her name.
I'm going to Google it. Yeah, I'm going to Google it.
Yeah,
fill some time,
please
but
do.
I will find it.
Yeah, no, because I wanted to say Amy Hennig at first as well, but she's the creator of Uncharted.
Yeah, so it is a studio in Playa Vista, California. It's a new Stadia studio for some. It's Shannon something. There we go, Shannon something. I have to skim through this now. Shannon Studstill.
Yes, Shannon Studstill. That's it.
Gotcha. Yes,
yeah.
And she's
So I think,
ex God of War dev.
And I'm sure that they probably offered her a nice package to sort of move over there, because I'm sure she had a good thing going on at Santa Monica. I mean, obviously, I don't know the ins and outs, but I'm sure that it took some, something to pry her away from that.
Oh yeah, they backed up the truck of money, and like, because there's no, why would you leave that studio? I think they'd have to offer her something really legitimate.
Yeah. So they obviously have something going on there, and Shannon Studstill, has organized Santa Monica so well over the years, that she really knows what she's doing. She can really get a team going in the right direction there. So I am really excited to see what they do. But yeah, I think Serious Sam is a very strange choice of timed exclusivity, but yeah, I completely forgot it was coming out, to be fair. I saw like the announced trailer a while ago, and I know Serious Sam 3 wasn't the best game, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see if they if it actually looks like a next gen game or not.
And that's a game where the input, there can't be any lag. It's got to work one for one because there's so much going on screen, so you can't mess that up.
No, yeah, I think it was on Xbox 360. I last played them. I think there was like a HD re-release of the first two games.
Oh, okay.
And they're just so much fun. They're so good.
Yeah,
I love the screaming headless guys like explode. So good. That's another game that used to scare me actually when I was younger. I remember because you like hear them screaming and you wouldn't know where they are, and you're like looking around.
Oh yeah, it's terrifying. Yeah, no, it's such a great character design. Yeah, because you can hear them. You're already doing everything else by shooting all the other characters that you just know that this guy's coming towards you.
Yeah, those are really really underappreciated games, I think. So yeah, I'm looking forward to. Maybe I'll grab a Stadia if it looks like I need to play it and can't wait a year for it.
Right. Awesome, man. Yeah, we'll end the episode there. Where can they keep up with you online?
Twitter, Bear Monroe. That's where I spout most of my rubbish. But yeah.
Nice. You can find us on Plastic Art Pod on Twitter as well. Keep up with this PC build I'm working on. Alrighty, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Yeah, see you later.
You're too late. I've already summoned Meteor.
Okay, let's go.